Good morning, you guys. Happy Thursday, y'all. It's Thursday. That means tomorrow's almost Friday. So exciting. Okay, so all right. I am really, really excited right now to let me put my phone on do not disturb. Not that it matters because it's my child that's talking to me. And to be honest with you, I have them on override. So if they talk to me, like it still goes through. But anyways, let me just put it on there real quick. So I want to come on here and say, hey, I want to tell you there's going to be a shift in the lives. There's going to be a shift in the videos. There's going to be a shift in the things that I was just talking about you, Renee. Put my phone on do not disturb. Okay, so y'all, that's my daughter. She's in here on TikTok. So I'm on TikTok here and I'm on YouTube right here. But I want to talk to you specifically about there's going to be a shift in the times that I'm going live. I talk all the time about doing it when your energy's high, but I have to make an energy shift myself because to be quite honest with you, I feel like me going live in the morning, I'm not really necessarily like gaining the traction that I'm looking for. And so I think I'm going to shift it to going live more at night, which I'm going to have to shift my energy levels. I'm going to have to figure out a way to guard my energy. I'm going to have to figure out a way to pump myself up because nighttime is not always my best time. Nighttime, usually I'm drained, but that's okay. It's okay. I'll figure it out. All right. So today I want to talk about what you can do to have some balance without being burned out because y'all, I'm a mama of 5 girls. I've got 4 granddaughters, but I'm also a stylist and a salon owner. And I have been I've been an entrepreneur pretty much my entire life. I mean, ever since I was a little kid, I've monetized everything from babysitting to making things, crochet. My mom taught me how to crochet. I forget how to do it now, but I remember making things when I was a kid, those little pot holders, all that kind of stuff. I would do those things and I would turn around and try to sell them. Anything that I could do to make money, I was all about making money. But I was also, and I would even do services, like if somebody needed a car wash, if somebody needed their desk cleaned out at school. But I would also turn around and I would pay other people to do the same for me. So it's a give and take. I always had a CEO mentality where, I mean, I think it's more because my parents, with me growing up, with a mom and a dad who worked 2 jobs themselves, like I saw them hustling all the time, right? I'm an only child, but they always wanted us to have the finer things in life. I remember my friends always saying, you're rich, your family's rich. No, we weren't rich. My parents worked hard and they always traded time for money. So when we talk about burnout, it's usually because people are trading time for money and they are just exhausted, right? So I can tell you from experience that I've been there and it causes resentment. It causes anger. It causes you to feel a lack mentality. It causes you to like have this mindset where you're just withdrawn and you're exhausted and you're just drained, mentally drained, right? So if you guys are joining me on TikTok, do me a favor and tap the screen and get us pushed out so that we can help other people learn how to balance without burning out. Because this is like something that I'm really passionate about. I can't stand when I see someone that is just on the borderline of burning out. It breaks my heart. And I see it coming and I sense it coming in myself sometimes and how it affects not just me, but the people around me, the people I love, the people that I'm actually working really hard for, which is my kids and my husband and my family, right? They're the ones that I work so hard for. My team, I own Kickstarter Superfood Coffee. I work hard for them because I want to make sure that our company is sustainable so that they have their affiliate, the customer base that they work hard for is going to be consistent for them. So I want to make sure that is running and up and it's giving everything that it can, right? So there are a lot of things, but you've got to set boundaries and you've got to learn how to balance things so that you are not burning out because burnout is real. My daughter, Renee, who's on TikTok with us right now, she's actually live. She can probably drop in the comments how close she's been to burning out because she's a mom. She's a new mom. Her daughter's under 1. She just started walking. So you guys, she's like all over the place. If you have babies, you know what I'm talking about. They learn to walk and they're into everything because they are like so curious, right? But she's also going to college and she's planning her wedding and she's doing all these things. And it's really hard to find that balance without burning out and without feeling so heavy, right? Okay. So I'm going to give you 5 tips that I use to help with burnout. Okay. And I want you to write these down because I really think that it's going to be helpful to you to avoid having that feeling of not being able to stay on task, but not feeling so heavy, right? Okay, so number one, time management. Y'all, how many of you do time blocking? How many of you use an organizer? How many of you have a calendar? How many of you use timers? Time management is so important. It's so crucial. You really need to use a planner. You need to set your hours. You need to have a schedule. Okay. I know a lot of people don't want to work on a schedule. As a matter of fact, we're going to talk about how I'm going to be shifting away from the schedule that I'm on right now because I am starting to feel a little bit of burnout. I've only been doing it a few weeks, but it's heavy. It's heavy to get up first thing in the morning and like earlier than everybody else. It's a little bit hard. It's easy in some ways, but it's harder in others. So I have to find that balance. I have to figure out which way is going to be the easiest because let's face it, being an entrepreneur, being owning your own business, it's not easy. It's not easy, but you can find ways to make it easier, right? You can find ways to do it in ways that it doesn't have to be hard either, right? Okay, so use a planner, make sure you're using a calendar, set your schedule, give yourself a daily schedule, decide when your energy is high, decide when it's the best time for you to show up. Sunny, hi Sunny. Sunny's on here with us, and I love her, and I will talk back and forth. And she reminded me yesterday, she said, maybe the majority of your audience isn't on first thing in the morning because I'm like, I don't get a lot of interaction. I don't get a lot of engagement. So here's what I'm going to tell y'all. If y'all want me to engage and you want me to keep coming on live in the morning, you need to be engaging with me because I'm not feeling it when I'm talking to myself. So I'm going to actually be thinking about doing a shift where I go live more at night. Is that going to be easier for me? We'll see. Because right now I feel like morning is easier for me. But is it more productive and conducive for my audience? Maybe not, right? So I have to make those shifts and I have to figure out how to balance that and get it on my schedule. All right. So I'm going to do some time management. I'm going to organize my day and I'm going to work by a schedule and I'm going to stick to it. Okay. All right. Number 2, setting boundaries. You guys, nothing drains you more when you are at a high energy and people come in and disrupt you or your phone gets goes off with something negative. Set your boundaries. Learn to have work and life boundaries. Learn to set that schedule and make it where when you put your phone down and you're present with your kids, you put your phone down and you're present with your kids. You want to make sure that you're able to say no to them, to your family, and you want to be able to say no to your work life people. Okay? Because if you don't, you're going to burn out. You're going to constantly be frustrated with your kids or resenting the people that are asking you questions, which the people that are asking you questions at the end of the day, they're the ones that are going to be paying you. The ones that are involved in what it is you're doing, your customers, they're the ones that are going to be helping you make that money. So you need to be present with them and not resent them, right? So set boundaries, have time management and set the boundaries around the time. Tell the kids, say, hey, my mom used to tell me this all the time. She would be working and I would go, hey mom, I want to tell you about my day. I was a little girl. I'd be like, mom, let me tell you about Dana. Let me tell you about my friend Danielle. Let me tell you about my friend Lisa, right? And she would say, okay, you can tell me, but you got to give me 10 minutes. I need 10 minutes of quiet and then I'm going to be yours. So that was her setting a boundary so that she didn't feel burnout, so she could decompress from her day, so that she felt a sense of peace over her before she opened it up for me, right? So you got to make sure you're setting those boundaries. Number 3 is self-care. Self-care is so important. You guys, when you get up in the morning, you need to make sure, or going to bed at night, it's whatever works for you. But what you need to do is make sure that you are doing self-care. You're doing your prayers, your meditation, your journaling, your diary, whatever it is that you do, you need to make sure you're doing that. You also need to make sure you're prioritizing taking breaks. Okay. It's important. I talked about this in one of my other lives. I'll talk about it again, but the Pomodoro method is incredible. You work for about 25 minutes, you take a 5-minute break, especially if you're working from home. Okay. 25 minutes on, 5-minute break. That gives you a chance to go to the bathroom, grab a drink, take care of you, do things that you need to do for you. That's going to help you avoid burning out. It's going to help you avoid Like I would sit for hours on end at my desk and my hip would hurt when I would get up. It would hurt for like 2 days and I couldn't figure it out. I was like, all I'm doing is sitting. How's my hip hurting? But that's when it was hurting the most, is when I was sitting. So you got to make sure you're taking care of you. You got to make sure that you are doing the things that are going to help your body feel it's optimal, right? Take walks. You guys, refresh your brain, reset, refresh, like rejuvenate, right? Re-energize. I told my son-in-law yesterday, I said, listen, he stays up really, really late and sometimes to the wee hours of the morning. Sometimes, like yesterday, he was up at 4. I was like, how are you rejuvenating your body? Like, how are you refueling yourself if you're not getting rest? Because when you get rest, that's when your body regenerates its cells. You've got to make sure you're taking those breaks. You've got to make sure that you're putting your phone down and that you're setting boundaries and you're taking care of yourself. Do some things that you love to do, right? When you reward yourself, this is going to help you with the burnout too. When you work so hard, make sure you're rewarding yourself. Take a beach day, take a boat day, take a day that you take your kids to go paint some ceramics, go do something, go bowling, go do something that's fun for you. Whatever it is that you like to do, put it on your calendar and say, hey, girls or boys or whatever. I have all girls. I'd be like, hey, girls, when mom gets done with working this week, how about Saturday we go to yard sailing? How about Saturday we go to the beach or go on the boat? Or how about Sunday we go on the boat, right? Do something that's going to reward yourselves and it's going to help you have a little bit more self-care, okay? All right, number 4, prioritizing. We talked about this the other day. There's a method to it. I can't remember what the method was called. I have to look it up, but it's prioritizing. It's knowing what's urgent and what's important and what's not. Okay, there's going to be different categories. You're going to have things that are urgent and important need to be at the top of your list. Things that are just important, but maybe not urgent, they're going to be a little bit lower. Okay. And things that are not quite as important or urgent, they can be even further down. All right. So you want to make sure that when you I talk about this all the time too, is doing thought downloads or brain dumping. When you wake up in the morning, if you feel heavy with things that need to be done throughout your day, and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel so heavy because I feel like I'm so overwhelmed. When I hear somebody say the word overwhelmed, I'm like, okay, you need to take out a piece of paper right now and you need to write down all the things that are overwhelming you. Any thoughts that go through your mind. And it doesn't matter if it's like, hey, I got to pack lunch for my kids. It doesn't matter if it's, I got to fold laundry. Like, it doesn't matter if it's overwhelming you and it's up here and it's weighing you down. Write it down on a piece of paper. And then what you need to do is go back in and number them and put the stuff that's super important that you can't avoid that is going to. And a lot of times that's going to be income producing activities if you're working from home or if you're trying to balance a business. So you need to make sure that those are the important things. Put those things at the top of the list, prioritize those and get them done. I love using Trello. It's a time management. Well, it's not really a time management scheduling tool. It's more of an organizational tool. If you guys are not familiar with Trello, you know what? Message me or go to my website and put your email in because I'll send you some free Trello templates. They're amazing. I love Trello. What Trello does is it basically takes, you can create different boards for different topics. And then within each board, you can create lists. And within each list, you can create cards. So you can you can narrow things down and you can move that stuff around and you can prioritize it and make it on a list. Another app that I love that actually you can take from the web, like you can take from the internet, like it's web-based, but it's also got an app at least for iPhone. I'm not sure about Android, but you can take it. It's called Todoist, Todoist. And you can take that and you can actually put everything on your list and then you can prioritize it that way. And it's got little circles where you can like check them. You can just tap them and check them. And I love that. You know, that feels at the end of the day when everything's done and your checklist it's so rewarding. And it's so like, I don't know about y'all, but when I check off something on a list, I'm just like, I feel accomplished, right? I'm confident that I got some work done and I don't feel as overwhelmed. I don't feel as like heavy, right? So, and then another thing you can do when you're prioritizing tasks is when you take a look at that list, determine what needs to be done from you specifically, or something that maybe you can pass off to somebody else. Something that you can take maybe someone else that's in your business, or maybe you have a virtual assistant, or maybe you have, if it's a home-based chore, if it's something that's weighing you down, that's something at home that you're like, hey, I don't have time to pair up my socks because I got to go over here and write an email. You can get one of your kids, say, hey, I got a chore for you to do. I would love for you to help mommy. Go over there, pair up some socks. You know, if you need to give them, if you do work on allowance based method, you can give them an allowance or a reward of some kind to let them know I appreciate you and I love that you're doing this for me. And it's a give and take, y'all. I don't know about y'all. I know there's a lot of controversy around giving allowances, and there's a lot of controversy around rewarding kids for everything they do. But my mom did. My mom did. She made me work hard, but she also rewarded me. And a lot of times when I was a kid growing up, if I wanted something, I had to earn money for it, but I could do extra chores around the house to earn the money. And then she would say, whatever you make, I'll match it. I'll give you half. And she would do that. And so if I wanted to buy a pair of roller skates, back then they were like probably 40 or 50 bucks. Like now they're way more, right? I mean, they were speed skates. They were like top of the line, nice ones, right? Because I went skating every weekend. And I wanted a pair of my own speed skates because I wanted to be just like cool kids. And my mom said, okay, well, you need to work at earning money. And when you get half, I'll match it. Y'all, I worked my butt off and I got my speed skates. Okay. Another time, and this is going to really age me, but do y'all remember back in the 80s? Where are my Gen Xers at? Y'all remember back in the 80s, those boom boxes or jam boxes, whatever you wanted to call them, with the double high dubbing cassette tapes? My kids don't even know what a cassette tape is, but it's really funny, right? I remember those. Remember those guys, the rappers, or the cool guys would be like walking around with them on their shoulders. I wanted one of those so bad. And my mom would say, okay, well, you can have one, but you got to earn half. So I picked out the one that I wanted, and it was big and it was bulky, and the speakers were moved off the sides, and it was just amazing, right? So I got that, and I earned the money, and my mom matched it for me. So when you prioritize your tasks, I think you should reward your kids, because I'm going to tell you right now, that made me work hard. I wanted things. And that's probably what made me the person I am today. Hey, Doquan, how are you? So that's how I am the person that I am right now. That's why I'm such an entrepreneur. And that's why I'm a hard worker, because I know at the end of my hard work comes the rewards. My mama taught me that. Okay. So I truly believe in the reward system, whether it's monetary or whether it's, just giving your kids something, teaching them young that when you work hard, you get something for it. Okay. And sometimes the outcome takes if it's a big thing that they want, sometimes it takes a little while for them to earn it. Right. Okay. So that's prioritizing tasks. Number 5 kind of goes back to the prioritizing task where we talk about delegating. It's asking for help. You guys, remember, there are people that should be out there supporting you in your community. And if you don't have a tribe, you need to find your tribe. You guys, I'm constantly bringing people into my tribe because I love to support people. Okay. So you need to ask your family for help. Okay. If they're going to reap the rewards of you working so hard and you need to avoid the burnout, make sure you're asking them for help. Okay. It's nothing wrong with your family helping you. All right. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. All right. You're going to ask them for help. Rely on your friends and your neighbors. You guys, I don't know how many times I have felt on the edge of burnout, and I'm like, you know what? I'm constantly doing. Everybody comes to me and says, hey, Terry, can you? Hey, Terry, can you? Hey, Terry, because they know I'm reliable and they know that I'm going to do it. But sometimes I have to put boundaries up and say no, or sometimes I have to pass the buck and say, I can't, but so-and-so can. Or I can go to the person and go, yeah, sure, I can do that, but I'm going to need you to do this for me. Right? You have to set those boundaries around your energy, and you have to protect yourself, because guess what, boo? Nobody else is going to do it except for you. You are the only person that's going to be for you. You might have friends and family who love you, but at the end of the day, like, you have to put yourself first. You have to, because if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy, and you cannot pour from an empty cup. I know you guys have heard that before, and it is so true. So I want you to balance and not burn out. So I want you to take these 5 tips and I want you to write them down. Again, it's making sure you're using a planner, have some time management skills. Setting some boundaries is number 2, making sure that you're saying no and you're telling people when and where you're available. All right. And set boundaries around it. I got family life and I got work life. Number 3, make sure you're doing self-care, which means you're going to take breaks, and you're also going to reward yourself with some fun activities that you love to do. All right. Number 4, you're going to prioritize. That means you're going to make lists. So yes, with your time management, you've got boundaries around it, but now you're going to make lists within that and you're going to prioritize those things. You're going to have to-do lists and you're going to check them off, because that is where the feeling of completion, the feeling of success, the feeling of like, I did it, that's where that comes in, the check off. It's rewarding in its own right. Okay. And number 5, you're going to ask for help. Whether that means hiring someone, if you've got the capability of hiring someone, like I have Sunny working with me, and I hired her. She's my VA. She helps me. She takes notes for me. She helps me with my emails sometimes. She helps me with my graphics. I give her the things that maybe are really time consuming for me that she can knock out really fast. Okay, so you and you also need to ask your friends and your family for help, because I promise you at the end of the day, they're going to be asking you for help, because there are a lot of people out there that are not afraid to ask for help. So don't be one. Don't be someone that's afraid to ask for help, because you know what? That's where it's going to protect you and your energy and your boundaries. All right. So I love you guys. I appreciate you. I will be live again tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. and we're going to talk about pivoting and shifting and knowing when that needs to happen. And I wasn't quite sure what my Friday topic was going to be at the beginning of this week. So if you were in my emails and you got my email and it talked about balance and burnout, I was like, it's kind of like duplicating today, and we don't need to talk about that twice, not in the same week. So I was thinking this morning, I was like, I'm making a little bit of a shift in my business, not a huge shift, but a pivot. And I want to talk about that. I want to share with you guys exactly what's going on with me pivoting and how I'm managing that, because I think it's really important to understand when you own a business or you're working for yourself, you need to set those boundaries, but you also need to learn that when something's not working, it's okay to pivot. It's okay to make a shift. It actually needs to happen. Right? You need to follow the signs and figure out like when that is the time to do it. All right. Doesn't mean that you have to give up on what you're doing. It just means you're kind of shifting your energies just a little bit. And you're not a quitter. I don't know about you, but I'm not a quitter. So I'm thinking you're not a quitter too, because if you're in my tribe, I promise you we are a lot more alike than you think. And y'all are probably not quitters either, because I'm not a quitter. I am tenacious AF. That's what I call myself. I know that I will not give up, because I know deep down inside of me, I have a gift God gave me, and you do too. So don't let it go to waste. And use these things that I'm giving you, these tips to help you not burn out and to help you be able to share your gifts with the rest of the world, because it's very important to share those gifts. All right. Everybody's got gifts. And if you don't know what your gifts are, let's talk, because I'm really good. One of my gifts, one of my superpowers is helping other people figure out what their gift is. Okay. Because if you don't know what your gift is, if you feel like, hey, I don't have anything to give. I don't have any strengths. I don't know anything. I have no skills. Yeah, you do. I promise you do. I promise there's something in the world that you're an expert on that I know nothing about, and I'm going to help you figure it out. So message me, get with me. I will not do Telegram. I will not do WhatsApp. I will not DM you myself unless you go to my Instagram or my Facebook. And the only reason I'll do those from those profiles is because there's a verified badge, and I want to make sure that you know exactly who you're talking to, or if you email me. And if you want to get any of my guides, any of my freebies, you want to make sure you put your email in. You can go to unstoppableambition.com, put your email in. Right now, there's a 10K and 30-day guide. That's going to be shifting. We're going to be actually doing like a digital marketing mastery guide where you're going to learn how to do digital marketing through that guide. And it's going to get you started, and it's going to explain to you exactly what digital marketing is, because that's exactly what I've already shifted to digital marketing, but I'm learning different programs, and I'm actually in the process of creating my own thing, because I feel like there's a gap in some of the programs that are out there. And there probably are really great programs that don't have gaps in them. But I feel like for what I know and what I've learned, my experiences between network marketing, affiliate marketing, being on the other side of corporate, because I actually own my own affiliate marketing business. Like I have a superfood coffee business that I have a team of affiliates working for. They don't work for me, they're affiliates, but they represent my company. So being on the corporate side of things, like I feel like I have an insider look and at how the inside part works, right? So I want to create a course that can help people to find their superpowers, and that can help people to figure out what they need to do in order to show up for their families, avoid burnout, have the mindset, have the confidence, and get the wins and have the successes. Okay. So I'm super excited. So I really want to encourage you to go ahead, even if you're not interested in the 10K and 30-day guide, put your email in anyways, because that's going to get you on my list where you're going to be able to know exactly what's happening as it's rolling out. All right. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I've got to go. I have an appointment, but I appreciate you showing up, and we will talk tomorrow, 7 a.m. Eastern, bright and early. All right. Thanks, you guys, for hopping on. I've got to jump off of this YouTube video first. All right. I appreciate you. And we'll see you tomorrow again, too, TikTok.